All right, so where were we? We had just finished the second one. In fact, we had finished the third one as well. So we're now on the fourth one. Data obtained from inside an organization is referred to internal data. That one's fairly straightforward. The main advantage of primary data is it is high quality because it's specific to whatever you're trying to research. You can come get your script here. Okay. Then we go on. 6, they're saying, amongst other disadvantages, which type of data may not be problem specific and or may be out of date. Okay, and it's obviously secondary data, because remember, secondary data existed prior to our study. Okay, so things may have changed, could be out of date. Okay. Then 7, they're saying, if we transform data into more meaningful measures, then this process is referred to as data enrichment. Okay, you can quickly just look for your script there. Then 1.8, they were asking 12 boxes of complete pairs of shoes, no shoes missing, are donated to a charity for homeless. Probably should be for the homeless. If we count the number of pairs of shoes in each box, then this will generate discrete data, because obviously it's a certain number of shoes. It's not a half shoe, not a quarter shoe, not a 0.2 shoe, etc, etc. Okay, then almost done with this first section. 1.9, they were saying, the marketing department of a large company maintains records of the number of adverts for item Z that are placed each month in national magazines. Such records represent an example of inter-scaled data. All right, and the explanation there is the number of adverts placed is measured over time intervals, which corresponds to inter-scaled data. Last one. Data that is recorded for the first time at source is referred to as already exists in a processed format is referred to as primary data. You don't want to double check as we revise?
I have something to do.
Okay. You're happy? You're happy?
With my mark?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's the correct mark. No, that's the correct mark.
Not the red one.
So that red one's a 10. Now it's not.
Okay, all right. So then here it was just about matching. Okay. Not too many people totalized this. Okay. But yeah, you should have been able to at least get a good decent amount of marks, which most of you did. Okay. So which was good to see. Okay. So here describes a characteristic of a sample, a statistic. The collection of all possible observations that exist for a random variable under study. All possible observations. Obviously, that's a population. Had it been a subset of all possible, then that's obviously sample. Okay. Then next one, generalizes sample findings to the broader population. Okay, that's inferential statistics. Then the analyst manipulates certain variables under controlled conditions. All right, so experimental. Okay. Then we have the last one there, a set of mathematically based tools, techniques that transform raw data into information to support effective decision making. All right, and that is statistics. That's exactly what we are doing throughout these different learning units. Okay, so that was your question 1. Then question 2, this is what we wanted. Okay.
Everyone says I got everything wrong.
We can always rectify and make sure that the red is what it should be. It's not a problem. I know you guys will kill test 2, so
That's confident.
I'm gonna make this deal with you guys, and you can tell the rest of the guys. Whoever gets 90% on test 2, I'll buy them.
90%. Oh,
So
I will make it neat, like
Like what?
give them extra for
What?
you.
something. A meal, like
Mine?
it doesn't have to be money per se.
So you're saying a meal? Wait, here.
No. No.
Tasha, so summer.
A burger and chips. That's a pay too. If you get 90%.
Bacon chips, double okay.
how
McDonald's, man.
So I'll have to order it on the app. You'll tell me what you want. Which burger?
90%.
90%.
Not even 75 thing.
90%.
Eh, it's distinction.
90%. That's why I'm saying you choose what burger you want.
Not even extra.
Burger and chips. That was the deal. Okay. So anyway, that's out there. Okay. That's out there. So here, they said the following table indicates the unit prices in rands and quantities of 3 intermediate products consumed by a Port Elizabeth furniture factory for the months of February and April 2024. Okay, happiness there. So the first thing that they asked there, 2.1, use February as the base period. Okay, compute the quantity relativities in April 2024 for hinges and handles. Interpret your answer. Some of you guys were not interpreting the answer. Some of you did not know how to interpret the answer, which is why you did not. Okay, so here obviously very straightforward. We get the quantity for April, which was your 4,130, and we divide it by your quantity in February, which is the 4,005. Then times 100, okay? Then minus 100 to get the percentage increase or decrease. So for the first we saw it was 3.12. Most of you got that. But again, you did not manage to interpret, which it tells me that you guys don't really know what you are doing. Okay? So if the value, because it's always going to be minus 100, right? So if the value you then get is positive, that means there was an increase.
So it's almost you wrote increase by.
The actual percentage, yes. Or
How much is this question?
that should have been maybe 4 marks. I think in total question 2.1 was about 8 marks. Yeah. So there was 1 mark just for interpretation.
Yeah.
Okay. But you obviously were not going to get that mark if you had gotten the wrong calculations. So you might even interpret correctly, but then you had the wrong amount. So if you also said there was a quantity increase in April in comparison, but the whole point is that you need to communicate there was some sort of an increase in comparison to before. Okay, so that was that. And then for handles, okay, same principle. We take April divided by February, and you then would have gotten 2.22% or thereabout. I'm sure you guys will notice that I wasn't very strict in terms of rounding, as long as I can see, okay, no, it's definitely on the right track. I've divided the right amount.
virtual answer to a percentage minus 100. Thank you.
You're okay. Right. So then the next one, they said they then wanted you to compute the PIASH price index, all right, for all products. This is what people were missing. If you didn't get your full 7 marks, I think it was because of that. So here, yeah, this 2.2 was 7 marks. So here you can see there's the epsilon. All right, they said for all products, they didn't select So that means that you needed, you know, the totals for all of them, which you can see is what we've done here. Can you see that? When you summarize that, you should have gotten this 950,000, well, let me say 958,166, okay, divided by 9418376, okay, and you would have ended up with a 0.95, all right? So 0.95 increase was supposed to be your interpretation there, okay? Some of you guys were actually applying this, but somewhere, the figures were wrong along the way. Does that make sense? Somewhere, the figures. So again, this is why I always say, learn to practice with your calculator. Learn your calculator, because it's just those small errors that obviously don't allow you. You might have gotten some marks along the way, which most of you, even though your final answer was wrong, you did get some marks along the way, but obviously you did not get the full 7. Whereas obviously, you know, these are the things we should be capitalizing on. Okay, I saw someone's hand up. Yes?
So how many marks would be for the interpretation and how many would be for the calculation?
It depends where you are. So interpretation is 1 mark. Most of the marks is with the calculation. Throughout, interpretation was just 1 mark. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, so then we move on to question 3. Right, question 3. Now we're looking at the price relativity, right? And they asked us to do that for oil and for flour, okay? And that is exactly what we did. So for oil, your answer would have been this 3.65% increase, okay? For flour, it would have been 10.16. That's your final answer. And again, that's an increase, okay? Then again, we go to 3.2. Same issue again. Some of you, again, were doing this separately. But again, if we look at the formula, you see it's the sum. Can you see that epsilon there? Okay, it's the sum of all of these different variables, or can I say product, for lack of a better term, okay? So there you are supposed to get 5.24. And guys, by the way, I did not mind you using a different formula, but as long as you got to the right answer, happiness. Does that make sense? So some of you did not do it exactly the same way as I would have done it, but as long as you managed to produce the same answer, then it was fine. So here again, I think this was 7 marks, and I think the first one was 8 marks again. So each of these should have given you 4 and 4. And then here, this is 7. 3.1 is 7. Was it the other way around? If you got 7, it's maybe the interpretation, because that's the 1 mark that you probably might have missed. 3.2 should be 7, and 3.1 should be 8. Is it making sense? Okay, so everybody, no queries there with our marks? Okay, right. So that was your test.
So
Yeah, bro.
you want the interpretation, but you said interpretation.
Did I give you a mark, or I marked?
You marked it.
Yes. Maybe it was lacking something. Let me see. I'm trying to help, most recognizing for it, isn't it? Oh, yes, we are on the right track. So you didn't give me an interpretation. So you see, you got your 6 marks. So what I needed was you to tell me there was a 5.25% increase. You did everything, right? Let me see. Because usually people who, when we weren't interpreting, they were consistently not. Yeah, I think you interpret. No, okay. Yeah.
I probably was.
That's all. Good job. Okay. All right. So guys, I will not hold you any longer. Please, can I have my test back? And then maybe I think next week I should be able to give them to you.